What if your boss is breaking the law right now, and you're the only one who doesn't know it? The Department of Labor recovers over $300 million in stolen wages from employers every single year. And that's just the cases that get reported. Most workers never say a word, not because they don't have rights, because nobody told them what those rights are. Until now, these are 7 illegal things employers do all the time and what you can do about every single one of them. Violation number 7, forcing you to work off the clock. Your shift ends. Your manager says, finish up that report before you leave. You stay an extra 45 minutes, unpaid. That is wage theft, and it is illegal. Under the Fair Labor Standards Act, the FLSA, anytime your employer knows you're working, they are required to pay you for it. That includes time before your shift, after your shift, during unpaid lunch breaks if you're actually working, and anytime you're required to be on call. Off the clock is not a legal concept your employer gets to invent. If this is happening to you, start documenting. Write down every date, every hour, every instruction you were given. That record is the foundation of a wage claim. You can file with the Department of Labor for free. And if your employer is found liable, they owe you every dollar back, plus an equal amount in damages. Violation number 6, misclassifying you as an independent contractor. Your employer calls you a contractor. You have a set schedule. You use their equipment. You report to a manager. You can't work for anyone else. That is not a contractor. That is an employee. And your employer is breaking the law by calling you anything else. Misclassification is one of the most common and costly illegal moves employers make. When they label you a contractor, they avoid paying your Social Security taxes, unemployment insurance, workers' comp, and benefits. The IRS and the Department of Labor both have tests to determine your real status, and the label your employer puts on you doesn't decide it. The actual working relationship does. If you've been misclassified, you may be owed back taxes, overtime, and benefits you were denied. An employment attorney can evaluate your case. Many do free consultations. Violation number 5, not paying overtime. You worked 50 hours last week. Your paycheck reflected 50 regular hours. Your employer just stole 10 hours of wages from you. Federal law under the FLSA requires that most employees receive 1.5 times their regular pay for every hour worked over 40 in a single week. Not per 2 weeks, not per month, per week. Your employer cannot average your hours across pay periods to avoid overtime. They cannot give you comp time instead of overtime pay, unless you work for the government. They cannot make you waive your right to overtime in a contract. The only employees exempt from overtime rules are certain salaried workers in executive, administrative, or professional roles. And even then, strict salary thresholds apply. Check your pay stubs. Count your hours. If the numbers don't match, you have a claim. Violation number 4, retaliating against you for complaining. You reported a safety violation. You filed an HR complaint. You told someone your boss was discriminating against you, and then you got written up, passed over for a promotion, suddenly put on a performance improvement plan. That is retaliation, and it is one of the most clearly illegal things an employer can do. Federal law protects workers who report violations, participate in investigations, or file complaints, whether internally or with a government agency. This protection covers complaints about discrimination, harassment, wage theft, safety violations, and more. Retaliation doesn't have to be getting fired. Any adverse action, a demotion, a schedule change, a hostile work environment, can qualify. Here's what you need to do right now. Write down everything. Dates, names, what was said, what changed after your complaint. That timeline is your case. File with the EEOC or OSHA, depending on the type of violation. Both are free, and retaliation claims have some of the highest success rates in employment law. Violation number 3, illegally deducting from your paycheck. You broke a piece of equipment. A cash register came up short. A customer didn't pay their tab. Your manager says it's coming out of your check. In most cases, that is illegal. Federal law prohibits deductions that bring your pay below minimum wage. Many state laws go further and ban certain deductions entirely, regardless of your wage level. Employers cannot deduct for cash shortages unless you were the sole person with access, breakage or damage unless caused by gross negligence, walkouts or dine and dash situations, or the cost of required uniforms in many states. And they cannot make deductions without your written consent, which even when given, does not make an otherwise illegal deduction legal. Check your state's wage deduction laws. If money was taken out of your check without legal grounds, you can recover it. Violation number 2, ignoring legally required breaks. You work an 8-hour shift, no lunch break, no rest period. Your manager says the store is too busy. Depending on your state, that is a labor violation. Federal law under the FLSA does not require meal or rest breaks, but here's what it does say. If your employer gives you a short break of 20 minutes or less, they must pay you for it. They cannot call a 15-minute break unpaid. Beyond that, most states have their own laws requiring meal periods and rest breaks, and many of those laws carry per-violation penalties your employer must pay you directly. Look up your state's break requirements. If your employer is ignoring them, file a complaint with your state labor board. This is one of the easiest violations to prove and one of the most commonly ignored. Violation number 1. Discriminating in hiring, pay, or promotion. You find out a coworker doing the exact same job as you, with less experience, is making significantly more money. The only difference? Gender, race, age, religion. That is illegal under federal law. Full stop. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, the Equal Pay Act, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, and the Americans with Disabilities Act collectively prohibit discrimination in every aspect of employment: hiring, pay, promotion, discipline, termination. Employers routinely try to hide pay discrimination by telling employees not to discuss their salaries. But here's what they don't want you to know. The National Labor Relations Act protects your right to discuss your pay with coworkers. They cannot legally stop you. If you suspect discrimination, document the disparity. Talk to coworkers. File a charge with the EEOC. You have 180 to 300 days from the discriminatory act to file, depending on your state. You don't need a lawyer to start the process, you just need to start. 7 violations, all illegal, all happening to workers across this country right now. The law gives you real power in the workplace, but only if you know it's there. Subscribe to Law Unlocked. New videos every week breaking down the legal rights you already have but nobody taught you. And share this video with someone who needs to hear it, because your coworker, your friend, your family member, they might be going through this right now. Know your rights. Use them.